And right now, my friend, we are all getting tested with the noise of social media, the noise of voices that's coming into your head, the noise of stress, the noise of anxiety. We are in a space where the noise is so loud, you cannot think or hear clearly. The enemy wants you to divert your focus. He wants you to be distracted. If you get a hold of that, my friend, it is over. If you get a hold of the greatness and the assignment and the purpose that's on your life, you are going to change the world. The devil does not want that to happen. Welcome into Behind the Spotlight podcast, where your story matters. I'm Danielle J. Martin, your host, and I'm on a mission to empower and educate you towards your greatness. On this podcast, you'll learn ways to turn your thoughts into action. Plus, you'll also learn from individuals who will share personal experiences and actionable steps on how to create the life you desire. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back, everyone, to Behind the Spotlight podcast. I'm your host, Danielle J. Martin, and welcome into another edition of Mindset Monday. If you are watching the video version, I know you're like, girl, you got your curls out. What is going on? Honey, it was time to get back to my roots, okay? Have you ever, for all my ladies out there, have had extensions, or I guess if you are Black, okay, let me just say it. You have your weave in, you got your braids in, you're ready to fill your scalp, okay? I'm just going to be transparent and let you guys know I was ready to fill my scalp. I was ready. So I am bringing out the curls. If you were watching the video version, yes, what do you think? Let me know. Let me know. I'm curious. Do you guys like this look or what? I like it sometimes. I will say it's manageable, but to do this style every day, it is a lot. Okay, I will say that. But if you are listening to the audio version, go ahead and check out the video version. I'm sure you'll see a clip somewhere on Instagram or something. But anyways, okay, you guys, this week's episode is a pretty serious one. I have to let you guys know what I've been up to. So your girl just came back from Cabo. First of all, Cabo was amazing, very beautiful. I enjoyed all of it. I was not ready to come back. I'm going to be even more real with you because I was like, okay, this is where it's at. But I feel relaxed. I feel refreshed. I feel pretty good. I'll just keep it at that. But this morning, let me just tell you what God spoke to me. And so that's what this edition, this Mindset Monday is about, is how to control the noise. Now, if you are wondering, what is the noise? Well, it's currently what you are listening to as far as the distractions, as far as the things that are pulling you away from your purpose. That is the definition of the noise, right? And so I want you to consider, what are you currently in that is pulling you away from your mission, from your purpose? What is trying to distract you from completing what you are called to do? It's a little run over from last week, but this one is going to be even more direct. And I'm just going to jump right in because I have to get this message out. I shared with you all last week how your girl was like, going through it, and how just as far as me getting to a space where my eye was twitching, and just kind of sharing with you how I knew my body was telling me that like I'm feeling stressed, I'm overwhelmed. And so I was listening to this sermon this morning by T.D. Jakes. It's called Look for It. It's a recent episode you can find on YouTube. I'll put the link in the show notes. But when I tell you, I said, oh, this is it. I understand this season I'm in. I understand why sometimes I'm feeling like this anxiety or this stress. And so when I heard it, I said, oh, wow, I wonder how many other people are trying to control the noise. And so sometimes you don't even realize that you are distracted. You don't even realize that the noise is so loud that it is distracting you. And you're kind of getting confused on whether this is God speaking or the higher power or whatever you believe in, or is this noise, right? Like you're trying to figure out and trying to understand what voice is this? Now, if you are feeling like this, and I'm going to go through, again, I'm just giving you guys a brief overview of this sermon. If you want to, and I'm kind of going to give you my interpretation on it, but if you have time, definitely go listen to it. And so before we dive in, I always have to say and ask you, how are you? How are you feeling? Check in with yourself, because it is so important to make sure that you are in the same path that you want to be on, that you decided to be on in the beginning of this year. I understand things can pivot, things can change, and things can alter. But I keep bringing up the goals that you had earlier this year because I keep saying, this is the time where we start to get stagnant. This is the time where we start to pull away. This is the time where we're getting tested. And right now, my friend, we are all getting tested with the noise of social media, the noise of voices that's coming into your head, the noise of stress, the noise of anxiety. We are in a space where the noise is so loud, you cannot think or hear clearly. And when I heard this, I said, wow, I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels this way. I have to share this with my people and say, hey, friend, you are not alone. But I want to define what this noise could be that you may not even realize, like, dang, I have been feeling this. It's so interesting. I was talking to my girlfriend this morning and I said, you don't really know when you're really in the transition until the transition is happening, until you're like, oh, wait, I am in a transition. And so I'll just share with you guys the transition that I'm in, trying to break away from my old self and walk fully into my new self. And you can say, well, aren't you doing that? Like that process is a journey? Yes. We have to remind ourselves that process is a journey. I think sometimes when we have decided in our mind, we have made the decision, hey, I'm no longer going to do X, Y, and Z. So I'm fully into my new self. But let me tell you, you are going to be tested in areas that you thought that you were healed from. You are going to be tested in areas that you thought could literally not affect you anymore. And when that test is coming, when that noise is coming, you will right in that moment say, oh crap, I may not fully in your new self. And that's okay. You're in the transition from old self to new self. In between is the transition. And I think sometimes we think that we are going from point A to point B. Let me say that better. We are going from point A to point C, but you have to get to B first, right? Like you have to stop here in the middle and you have to heal whatever it is that's in between. I think sometimes we're like, I'm just going to hop over. I'm going to skip the transition or the process. But sometimes that transition and that process lasts a good year or so, or 6 months, or 2 weeks. It's not like a definite boom, right? So give yourself grace. Go back and listen to that episode. I talk about that. How giving yourself grace in the transition is something you have to really feed into your soul, because in the noise of social media, of people speaking, in the gossip world, or whatever world of distractions that is trying to pull you away from your purpose, you have to remind yourself that, hey, and identify that, hey, you know what? This is not aligning me with where I'm supposed to go. You have to really awaken, open up your ears in your mind, in your soul, in your heart to ask yourself, am I in the right place? Am I in the right place? Am I on the right path? Am I? Okay, so going back to how to control the noise. If you are in a space where you are feeling stress, first of all, stress is a silent killer. Going back to, you won't realize you're in the transition until you wake up and say, oh crap, yes, I am in a transition. I'm not there yet. I'm not to the full point yet. Stress starts to arise. It starts to slowly kill your body. It starts to take over your mind, your body. Some people, and I'm so serious when I say this, you guys, but some people literally lose so much weight, or they are getting so affected so bad by stress that they are literally becoming anorexic. Like, they are losing pieces of them. They get disease. Like, stress can literally kill you slowly but surely, just like anything else. But there's something about that stress, just how they say that, like, drinking and driving is, obviously not a good thing, but there's something about when you're sleeping and driving, that's a whole nother like movement and thing that could really just erode your entire trip. And so stress is the same thing. If you are feeling any type of stress, if you are feeling any type of anxiety, tap into that. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? What are you listening to? Stress creates anxiety, okay? And anxiety means that you are anxious about something that hasn't even happened yet, okay? I want to share this with you, that when I heard TD Jakes say this, it made me think about Myron Golden, who also talks about anxiety. And he says that anxiety is wasting present energy on a future outcome that's undesirable to me. And when I heard that, I said, wow, that's literally anxiety. We are so focused on something that could happen that may not even potentially happen. We are creating it in our mind. And so what anxiety are you recognizing in certain areas of your life that is arising in you, that is, you're trying to force something or create something to happen that's not going to happen? And if you are in that space, if you can identify certain areas that you feel anxiety, pay attention to that. Why am I feeling like this? What is causing this moment? What am I afraid of? You have to ask yourself that. I had to ask myself, why do I feel anxiety? I feel anxiety because I'm afraid that I may not complete the assignment. I'm afraid that I will mess up something. I'm afraid that I may not get to where God wants me to be. I had to literally say that out loud. Identify it. They always say if you shed light on something, you have the power to overturn it, right? And so another transparent moment is, there was a season, and my best friend Michaela knows this, is that when we first met in the beginning of our friendship, I used to have, and so serious, you guys, but I used to have these really negative thoughts all the time. But I realized later on it was my anxiety. And so my anxiety was literally cultivating these thoughts. And she's like, what kind of thoughts are they? And I'm like, you don't want to know. Like, they're so dark, they're so deep. And she's like, no, you have to shed light on them, because what's done in the dark comes to light. And when you put light on it, you are now getting in control. You are no longer allowing it to control you. Wow. Hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from, because that's for you. But understand that anxiety is in having faith in negativity. How does that sound, right? We don't want to be negative people out here. We don't want to shed and grow negativity in our mind or in our world, right? What you put out, you attract, right? And so if you are putting out negative thoughts, if you are constantly grooming your mind with negative thoughts, you are only going to attract negative things. And so I literally had to rewire my brain. I literally had to rewire and say, this is not true. Does God say this about me? And if he doesn't, then it's something I'm making up. It's probably something I heard during my young childhood that's trying to come up and arise in me and trying to force me. And because that's honestly what it is, it's trying to force you to believe it. You have to literally revert and rewire your brain. It is a constant daily battle. And in the world that we are in right now, with the noise so loud, you have to pay attention. And so going back to this space of understanding that stress is a silent killer. If you are having anxiety, understand that you have the power to control it. You have the power to take control of your mind. You have the power to take control of your body. You have the power within you. And so throughout the sermon, he talks about this, and he says that the enemy wants you to divert your focus. He wants you to be distracted because he knows that the greatness that is within you, if you get a hold of that, my friend, it is over. If you get a hold of the greatness and the assignment and the purpose that's on your life, you are going to change the world. The devil does not want that to happen. So what does he do? He puts people in front of you. He puts social media in front of you. He puts distractions in front of you. He puts the things that you used to desire in front of you. He puts tests in front of you. Now, some people can say the devil's not the only person that tests you. I agree. Sometimes God is trying to prepare you for what's coming. Before the devil even gets to you, he's trying to prepare you. So when he comes knocking at your door, you know how to address it. You know how to overcome it. You know how to take control over the noise. You have to know how to identify the noise, because when the noise comes, you know how to take control over it. Okay? Are you ready to transform your mindset and turn your dreams into reality? Join the Insider Community Circle today and take your personal growth to the next level. Get exclusive access to my personal framework that will guide you on the path to success. Don't just dream it, take action. Be the first to know about our upcoming Behind the Spotlight podcast releases, hear about my real-life experiences, and you'll gain insider information on the highly anticipated Rise and Thrive conference. So elevate your mindset and become a part of our thriving community today. Sign up by going to www.daniellejmartin.com. That's www.daniellejmartin.com. Your journey to a new mindset starts here. Are you looking for ways to be seen, heard, and understood? Or perhaps you're eager to cultivate your own thriving community? Well, what if I told you that I have the framework that you need to achieve your goals in just 30 days? Well, inside my online business podcasting academy, you'll learn how to elevate your message and expand your influence through podcasting. After this program, you'll experience business growth, brand clarity, and master professional interviewing skills. So join today by heading to daniellejmartin.com/DJM podcast course. Again, that's daniellejmartin.com/DJM podcast course. You can also find the link in the show notes. I hope to see you there. Okay, some people may think that they don't have the power, but my friend, you do. God has given you all the tools. He has given you all the people. He has given you all the opportunities. You just have to open up your ears first, open up your eyes and see and know that He is always speaking. It's true what they say that God doesn't speak in loud voices. He speaks in whispers. He speaks very quietly, and it's up to you. It is up to us to open up our ears to truly listen. And so I want you to be mindful of that, but I also want you to be mindful of this. When I heard this, I said, this makes so much sense why I probably feel or was feeling this anxiety, or may feel like, it just hasn't hit me yet, right? Like, are you ever in a space where you're like trying to create and you're just waiting for that big spark of inspiration and motivation to just like kick in? I've been in that space. But after hearing this sermon this morning, I said, oh, God has been speaking the whole time. I don't know if I was still enough to listen. And so I'm here to share the word that in order for you to control the noise, you have to be still. You have to focus. This is the season of focusing, okay? And I say that because the noise is only going to get louder. Social media is only going to get complicated and more frustrating if you are in a space of loudness, if you are in a space of not knowing how to control the noise. If you are in the space of distractions, you are going to miss out on the opportunity because you were called right now to be focused. God needs you to be focused because there's something in you that He's trying to communicate. There's something in you that He's trying to get you to understand and to feel and to really see that, hey, this thing right here that you're trying to search for in the outside and the external world is actually within. But you won't feel that inspiration, or you won't get that spark of motivation if you are not still, if you are not focused. The devil and the enemy wants you to be distracted, wants you to be doing so many different things. So when you are still, you don't know what to say. You don't know how to say it. And so for me, I really had to have this revelation. I said, wow, like this makes so much sense. Why certain distractions have been trying to overcome me. While certain distractions were trying to get me to get off course. So when I say that this message is timing, is so on time for me. I'm like, wow, I've got to get this out. I've got to get this out. Okay, so if this is good so far, I want you to share this with someone, okay? Because if you are feeling it too, I promise you, my friend, someone near you needs to hear it as well. So don't hesitate to share this, okay? Okay, so stay with me because it's about to get even better. If you're like, what? Yes, I'm telling you because there's more. So in order for you to perform the next miracle, in order for you to receive the next assignment, in order for you to know what's next on your journey, you have to focus. You have to be still. You have to put yourself in spaces that are quiet. You have to put yourself in spaces that are uncomfortable. And when I say this, I mean like, some people may have a hard time being in still places and being in, places that's just them. But I promise you, that is when God speaks to you so loud and so clearly. That is when the universe is literally speaking. When you are in a still place and when you are focused, okay? Because what's interesting is that as TD Jakes was talking about, just like the idea of getting in control of the noise, right? If you do not control it, it will control you. As simple as that sounds, my friend, a lot of people right now are being controlled by the noise. And I say that because I am always confirmed where people are as they are speaking to me. You guys, people tell on themselves, okay? If you listen long enough and don't say anything to somebody, I promise you, people tell on themselves, okay? And if certain people are only gossiping, or if certain people are only still talking the same thing that they said that they were trying to get over and they're still in that place, honey, okay, that is the noise. That's people trying to distract you or trying to feed you into where they are, and it's not going to feed you to where you're trying to go. So you have to literally be so open in listening to what people are saying. And if it's not in alignment to where you're trying to go, you have to let it go. You have to let them go. You have to be so focused in where you're going because In order for you to get to the next assignment, you have to be focused. You have to be still. You have to listen clearly. And so what I love is that in the Bible, it does say, be still and know that I am God. When you are still, you are able to hear. When you are still, you are able to know what's next. You are able to know how to move forward, okay? And if you have been wondering, how do I get to the next step? How do I elevate? How do I really get to the next level? This is where a lot of people in the transition of becoming successful are stagnant because they are forcing the next step. They are forcing the next step by controlling it themselves without having any clear direction. And so what I love and what I'm super excited about, even in the framework of my podcast that I'm going to be eventually talking about in my upcoming workshop. So if you have not gotten your ticket, honey, I think right now on this day, we have about 5 to 6 spots left. So hurry, don't walk, run. But even for me, I had to understand that it's bigger than just getting people to start a podcast. It's actually getting people to use their voice. It's getting people to connect with other people in a different way. And it's also helping people find clarity, because clarity brings confidence. And then confidence gives you the clarity to take action, right? And so when I started to understand the framework of clarity, confidence, action, okay, we can apply that in all areas of our life, right? And if you are not clear on the next level, if you are not confident about the next level, it's because you don't have clarity. If you don't know what action to take, it's because you're not confident in what you are doing and what you are saying and what you are trying to create. So how do we get there? First, in order to get clear, you first have to be still. You first have to be still. You first have to release the distractions, release the noise, and get still and get clear. Okay? And so you have to stop and listen. You have to stop and look. And when I say look, I don't mean like I have to look at external factors. I have to look at what everyone's doing. No, you have to look within. I'll be honest with you guys. I was in that space where I really didn't like sitting with myself. I'm not going to lie. And I'll share this other story with you. And I think a few people have heard it before. But I went to a conference I think it's last year, a couple months ago. And it was a conference in Dallas, and they were doing a leadership conference. And the speaker was talking about the mirror challenge. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. But the mirror challenge is when you look at yourself in the mirror, just you. Now, you may say, I look at myself in the mirror every day. But do you really look at yourself? Like, look at yourself, right? Look at your eyes, and do you really see yourself? And he talked about how he would look in the mirror every day, and he would say the words, I love you. I love you, Danielle. I love you, Danielle. I love you, insert your name. And he said he would say it to himself every day in the mirror 30 times, every day. And so I thought it was kind of hysterical. I'm like, I look at myself every day. I put makeup on every day. I kid you not. After that conference, I went home and I tried the challenge. I could not look at myself, you guys. Michael was standing right next to me, and I would even like turn away sometimes, and he would say, look at yourself. Come on, look at yourself. Like, I thought you loved yourself. I kid you not. I looked at myself and I started crying. I did. I started crying because in that space, when I did that challenge, I didn't love myself. I didn't know who I wanted to be. I didn't know who I was becoming, right? And so that was the moment I said, I have to do something about this, because I can't preach about loving yourself and becoming the best version of yourself if I am not doing it. And so when I say that you guys have really helped me develop and get to this space of maturity and love, it's because it's forced me to do the work. It has forced me to literally say, hey, I love you. You are beautiful. You are strong. You are loved. And I hope that you believe that about yourself too. And it's okay if you do the mirror challenge and you may not feel this way. You may cry the first time. It is okay. But I do want to challenge you to, after you listen to this podcast, I challenge you to do that. And if you've done it and if you're like, Danielle, I did it, I can do it, great. Take it a step further. And I want you to look at yourself every day and say, I love you, I am strong, I am loved. What are you going to accomplish today? Like, ask yourself that in the mirror. Ask yourself, what are you going to accomplish today? Because then you start to have a conversation with yourself. You start to make yourself accountable to what you're saying to yourself. I'm telling you, it's the power of control. It's the power to get control of yourself, of your body, of your thoughts, of your mind. It's rewiring your brain. Okay? And so I challenge you, go home, or if you're at work, if you're in the gym, it might be weird, but it's okay, right? But if you do want some alone time, I would encourage you to just wait till you get home, okay? But wherever you are, find a mirror. Say those words to you 30 times every day. And I promise you, you will bring on some wild confidence that you never thought that you could have. And I'm telling you, my friend, it's powerful. It is powerful. So I hope that this Mindset Monday was for you, that you enjoyed it. I know we had a lot to get to. It was a little long today, but I had to just get it out, you guys, because we are in this together. This thing that we call life, I'm here with you. And guess what? You don't have to do it alone. You do not have to do life alone. And so with that, I encourage you to take control of the noise. Listen, don't speak, and look within. Okay? If you enjoyed this episode, I highly encourage you guys to share it, okay? Right now, I don't get really much any funding from this episode, from this podcast at all. But what will help is if you share it as much as possible, if you share it with someone, if you post it on social media, if you tag me. I want to meet you. I want to know who's listening, okay? I see all the numbers all the time, but I would love to know who you are, okay? And so in the meantime, you guys, I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next week. If you found value in this episode, I'd love to hear your thoughts on your key takeaways. Take a moment, download this episode, and share your feedback by leaving a review for this episode. Better yet, snap a screenshot and share it on your social media. Now, don't forget to tag me so I can personally connect with you. Your insights might just be what someone else needs. Now, let's make an impact together.